Hi, welcome everyone to our webinar this morning. A very special one indeed. As you might know, we've recorded and promoted in the Daily CU Scan here several weeks ago that we formed a special partnership with the Defense Credit Union Council. We believe there's a lot of value to be had for our membership through the council. And here to tell us all about that value today is our dear friend, Tony Hernandez, who's the president and CEO of the Defense Credit Union Council. Tony, welcome to CCOA. Welcome to today's gathering.
Well, thank you, Walter. It's great to be here, and it's great to have this special partnership with the Cooperative Credit Union Association. So we're really happy to be here and to be members and recognizing some of the great things we can all do together. DCUC has been around for a long time, and it's a long name, Defense Credit Union Council. But what I like to explain to people is we've been around for almost 60 years now, and we have council in our last name because we started as a CUNA council back in the early 60s. When we had a lot of military bases that had a small credit union located on there, composed of military members that needed help in working with the Pentagon and also the Capitol Hill on military-related issues. And so we've been around for a long time. Our credit unions have grown steadily over the last 6 decades, where today we represent over 32 million memberships. Roughly about a quarter of the credit union industry. We're in 48 states and 16 countries internationally. The international are U.S.-based credit unions that are still examined by the NCUA, but are offered a geographic franchise operating in locations where we have a large military presence. And so the beauty of the overseas is we still serve no matter where military members are located. And that includes even some downrange options that we're able to employ as well. We've been around for a long time. We do a lot of great things, but we're also recognizing that, there's a larger veteran population that resides in virtually every credit union in the country. And veterans are a very loyal group. They're fun to be around with, and they have a lot of unique issues. And so one of the things that DCUC is recognizing and we're moving into is how do we help our credit unions speak military and speak veteran issues? And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things today.
Yep, and I'm glad you bring that up, Tony, because I think a lot of times, I know in my credit union tenure, a lot of times looking at DCUC, I was thinking specifically, military or credit unions on military bases, those that are serving in active duty and their families. But, I know since then, you and I have chatted and you've opened my mind to realize, and I think it's true for all of us within the credit union community. It's not just the military bases, but there are veterans all throughout the country, and they are members of all our different credit unions, and certainly a lot of the credit unions here that are members of CCUA. So it only seems, intelligent to bring you all into the picture so that you could provide any kind of value, whatever it might be, to our individual members so that they can relate and serve the needs of those veterans who are members of their credit union.
Right. And a lot of that is just, one, credit union just recognizing that you have veterans in your field of membership, right? Lots of different programs that DCUC is already doing. You don't have to be a DCUC member to participate. We'd like you to join as an affiliate because we can give you a lot more value. And we'll show you a video that we did here, shortly for veteran members. But, one of the things we do right away is working with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. We sponsor the Veteran Benefit Banking Program, and that's aimed at underbanked or unbanked veterans that still get paper checks for their monthly veteran benefits, or they get an electronic EBT card that's very limited in where you can use it. Oftentimes, both the plastic card and the paper check are lost, and so veterans lose their benefits. And so the veteran bet.
Tony, how do you mean oftentimes they're lost? That's sad.
Well, a lot of times if they're underbanked, they may also be homeless, right? Or they could be in a disaster area, right? And so if you're in a hurricane-prone area and you have paper checks, you could lose those, and especially at the time when you need it most.
Yeah.
And so we're working with credit unions. There's also banking institutions that are included in that. And virtually every credit union offers a free checking account. And as long as that veteran is eligible to join your credit union, you can offer them a free checking account. So the Veteran Benefits Administration can electronically deposit those benefits every month, which one allows for safer deposit of needed funds, but it also opens up other opportunities to find, special help programs that your credit union may be offering to your members. Certainly financial wellness campaigns, and different plans and tailored approaches to help that veteran accomplish more of their goals. What we're really getting at is financial inclusion of our veterans in the U.S. financial system. And you don't have to be a member of DCUC to participate in that program. All we need is just contact us and send us your logo. We'll give you a quick phone call and make sure you understand what the program is. And it's pretty much what I just described to you, during this live chat. But it also just gives us, the authority to let the VA know that this particular credit union would like to join this Veterans Benefit Banking Program. And what we found is that the veterans that are already in your membership, that aren't, they're already banked, but they're still receiving their paper checks and have to walk in the credit union deposited. Mm-hmm. This is a great service for your veterans. You can eliminate some of the paperwork. It shows the colors, and that you're aware of these issues. And it opens up a whole different channel of communications with people that are already probably some of your stronger members in my view, where veterans are.
Mm-hmm. You really, you hit it on the head there, because oftentimes I would not have imagined, such a thing could occur for a veteran that might be homeless or living in a disaster area where the checks come in, it's paper, they don't get them. They're losing out on the benefits, and it's much safer and smarter to have it be direct deposited into an account, a checking account at a credit union. And that's a perfect way that, any one of our members could help assist the veterans in their neighborhoods or in their geographic areas by entering into an arrangement like this. It just makes total sense in our world. And Tony, I've said before, and those that know me as well, that we don't do enough for the veterans, for those that served our country, and anything we do, we should do. That to me is very important.
Well, again, it just builds more loyalty, and it's a great community effort, right? When you just, you tip your hat to your veteran population. One of the best things we can just do is just a simple act of saying thank you, right? I get a lot of thank you for your service, and it means a lot. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things going on here at home, were it not for a strong defense community, right, protecting us. It's one of those things we take for granted, a lot of our freedoms. And so just a simple act of saying thank you and recognizing some of the sacrifices goes a long way. And that sort of gets to our Memorial Day video that we'll play for the audience, hopefully here, and get to see. And then coming out of that, in particular, our Korean and Vietnam War veterans, I've got a special message, that we can talk about after showing the video. But DCUC put together we did a Veterans Day video, and we repurposed it for Memorial Day, because Memorial Day is not just about barbecues and picnics and time out on the boat. I mean, we certainly treasure those things, because it's a great time to be with family. And it's also the start to the summer vacation season, so lots of things going on with respect to Memorial Day. But really, Memorial Day is just focusing on those who gave their life for our country. Mm-hmm. Veterans Day, more about service, those living and the dead. Memorial Day is really for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service of our nation. And so just a simple thank you and recognition, particularly for those spouses and family members, the survivors of these military families going forward, and recognizing what they do. And as far as surviving military, recognizing, saying thank you for a lot of their buddies that perished in the line of duty. It just says a lot. And so, if we have the video, Walter, if you'd like to play it, I think now would be a great time.
Yeah, let's play the video, and then we could talk a little bit afterward about it. And also, Tony, ask you to tell us a little bit about Armed Forces Financial Network, which is also a partner I see with DCUC in the video. But let's do the video right now.
Since our nation's founding, freedom in America has been anything but free. From the world wars and Korea to Vietnam, from the Cold War to Iraq and Afghanistan, freedom is paid for in blood, in sweat, and in tears. Its currency is sacrifice. Our parents and grandparents, sons and daughters, husbands and wives, have left their families and their lives behind to fight for this country. They've shown the commitment and the courage to serve in the world's greatest military, and they've sacrificed their lives to protect ours, so that our children and grandchildren can live free and brave, with peace and prosperity in this country that we call home. Today we come together as brothers and sisters, united by freedom, bound by history, humbled by sacrifice, to say thank you.
Yeah, thanks for playing that, Walter. And if you want, anyone wants to see the video with all, with probably better sound and stuff, you can always go to DCUC's website and we'll play it. We've also offered co-branded versions of that video for DCUC member credit unions to use in their member service lobbies and their community events to sort of introduce the credit union. If your credit union is doing a veteran-related event, it's a great introduction for your credit union. And we partner with the Armed Forces Financial Network in producing the video and getting that out to our members as well. And if those of you are unfamiliar with the Armed Forces Financial Network, it's a debit network that was created in 1985 when the Army went to what they called SurePay at the time. We know it better known as direct deposit. But soldiers didn't have a way of getting funds out of their account, out of their credit union or military bank account. And if you remember back in the mid 80s, military bases were pretty remote. That's because you don't want to live, you don't want your fighter jets taking off, near large civilian populations, because they're very loud, and they fly at all hours of the night, and they drop bombs, and just different types of things. So it's a good reason why military bases were remote. Well, Visa and MasterCard didn't really see any profit potential in linking up ATMs and point of sale devices at bases, and so the Armed Forces Financial Network was created, and we actually dropped a lot of those lines and communication ports and point of sales devices, so that soldiers had access to their funds when they're buying groceries at the commissary or the post exchange, or getting cash out to take care of their needs, to their ATMs. And so we're very proud of that network. It still exists today, and a number of our member credit unions still use Armed Forces Financial Network products in addition to everything else that they're doing. And so hat tip to AFN for helping us produce the video. It shows a lot of images. Freedom is since our nation's founding, freedom is paid for in blood, sweat, and tears. and it showed a lot of images of, of a barbecue. I think there's a girl riding her bike without any being hassled, and there's families coming together and just enjoying things that we take for granted in our country. And then lots of images of a national cemetery and a veteran sacrificing. And really, all we really want to do is just say thank you. And that just goes a long way, for our veterans. I have an alternate message for those of you that are dealing with Korean War or Vietnam veterans. They didn't get the homecoming a lot of our Iraq and Afghanistan veterans received. And that's sad, right? Because they served their country, and a lot of times it was an unpopular war to go off and serve. And a lot of them, when Vietnam veterans came home in particular, weren't shown a proper welcome. And so, in addition to saying thank you to a Vietnam vet, we ask that you also say welcome home, right? To kind of give them the welcome home that they never received. And I guarantee you the response you'll get will be enormous just from that recognition. And so I offer that to all credit unions in doing that, because it goes a long way.
And I think, Tony, just like you said, you will have the video, or the video also is on the DCUC website. The link for it will also be included in our CCUA webpage, where the recording of this video of this webinar will be, so that members can also grab it there. I think it's probably safe to say that we're going to see a lot of this video being pushed out on social media as well over the holiday.
I think so, even in the week leading up to it, right? So we try to have copies out to our members, I think that no later than this week. So you'll start seeing those play on social media campaigns and in member service lobbies, because you want to recognize a full week, at least a full week ahead of time, and not just on the day. Because I guarantee most people hopefully aren't around, a computer monitor, or out enjoying the day and all the other things that's associated with Memorial Day as well. And so we want to make that available right away to our members.
Tony, if you start looking today at the veterans that are really among our membership of the various credit unions that are part of CCUA, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges that they're facing, and how is DCUC working to address a lot of those challenges?
Right. No, thanks for asking that. That's special. A lot of veterans aren't video or technical savvy, right? Especially with all the programs that VA offers. And so one of the biggest challenges I see is an awareness campaign of what benefits are available to a veteran. And we'll talk about the aid and assistance benefit here in a second. But I think there's a lot of fraud out there, of people offering to help veterans get signed up for some of these benefits. And so they'll take their personal information and work it for them, right? And so they'll sign up for all these veterans, and they won't, they'll get deposited in a different account, and you'll never hear from them again. All right. And that's sad that there, a lot of our older, less tech savvy veterans are relying on some of these consultants or firms or commercial entities that will do all the research for you when they really just stealing your personal information and taking that away. And so we see, credit unions as being the trusted counselor, the trusted advisor, right? And just having an awareness of what's going on, so you don't see, a veteran suddenly taking out $15,000 out of their account, their savings account, to go pay these guys a fee, when really the VA already has a lot of opportunities. And so DCUC's opened up dialogue with the VA. I've got a meeting later on this week with one of the members who's working on the aid and assistance program to talk about some of the challenges and the awareness, and also to dispel some of the myths, because it can take a long time to sign up for these benefits. So how do we either dispel the myth, or how can we expedite the process so that members aren't waiting 6 months when they need the money today, not 6 months from now? And so how can we work on some of those things?
Yep, I know CCUA has been doing a lot of things with Senior Safeguard. Seniors obviously are prime targets for scammers and fraudsters, ripping them off to no end. And it even gets even sadder to me when you look at folks that have, given service to this country, spent, time in the military protecting us. Now they're elderly and they're the victims of scams and frauds. And a lot of them have health issues that they need that funding, that money. It's horrible. And the best way that we could, attack that, so to speak, is through education and keeping, the general sense of awareness for folks like that to protect them.
Or just having, where do I go to get help? I mean, a lot of states, I know here, I live in Virginia. I know Virginia has a state agency that will help with veteran claims and programs. And I'm sure the state of Massachusetts or Rhode Island and, Connecticut have similar programs as well. But just having the credit union be aware of those helping resources and not someone that looks and sounds legitimate, but probably is not. And so with Senior Safeguard, which is an excellent program, along with some of these veteran issues, I think that's a powerful combination. And that's, I think, where credit unions would want to be knowledgeable about these programs and how to access them. And so we look at DCUC, since we have the contacts here and we know a lot of folks, is how do we get more information out to our veteran populations through our member credit unions and really just credit unions in general? Because to me, more is better, right? And having credit unions and how can we provide that service for all credit unions, not just DCUC members?
I think, Tony, also when you look at the relationship of DCUC and CCUA, it's also important to note that there are opportunities here where you can continue now as DCUC to be a viable resource to our member credit unions, in more ways than one. For example, I think to myself, we have a daily CU scan that goes out Monday through Fridays, each business day during the week, where we have a lot of information. And, when I started thinking about it, I know DCUC does a lot of communications directly to its members. There are times when articles that, you may be putting in your newsletter could be very applicable for any of the other credit unions. And I think we need to look for ways where we also put the daily CU scan at your disposal so that when educational information becomes available for our members that they need to know about in serving their veteran members, we could rely on DCUC to be there for us.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's a great partnership with CCUA and DCUC. And I think the information kind of goes, back and forth. So how can we support some of the things that CCUA member credit unions are involved with to get that message out? Because if you're experiencing issues, chances are somebody in California, Utah, or Idaho is experiencing the same issues as well. And so again, that's good for DCUC to know about and get and disseminate information, because it's all about doing the right thing for each of our members, veterans and non-veterans, just that whole sense of community.
Now, you mentioned, like some of the scams or financial fraud that takes place with a lot of veterans today. What are some of the other challenges that you see a lot of them are facing?
I think just people understanding, some speaking the language, right? So, an awareness campaign of what's going on. I didn't know, even myself, I'm a veteran and I'm learning about new programs all the time. You don't transition out of military, and they hand you a list of everything that you may or may not qualify for, and things change all the time. And so there's a lot of fantastic programs out there, but if you don't know about them, then you can't get the help. And so, and again, I'm admitting myself as a 25-year veteran from the Air Force. A lot of things I'm unaware of. One we'll talk about here shortly in the aid and assistance program. I didn't know it was there, and it'd be helpful to share that information for other credit unions as well.
Tell us a little bit about that. That sounds interesting.
Well, this came from Ron Draper, right? And I appreciate Ron, contacting me and telling me about this. This is a special program that the VA, allows for members that require extra help because they're confined to their home or confined to their bed, and they need extra money to help take care of things such as bathing or feeding, dressing or just adjusting any prosthetic devices that they have, especially for bedridden people that don't get the care that they need, or if they're blind and can't see things and just need someone to come in and help with their home. And so the VA pays, I want to say, an extra $1,000 to help them get by, to get this aid and assistance package for our veterans, specifically older veterans. We start looking at a lot of certainly Korean era, World War II, and Vietnam veterans are getting up in age, where a lot of these things really come into play. And how can we help them continue with a standard of living that they can get by without having to dip into savings or go into their pocketbooks to pay for that when there's VA programs to help. And so one of the things, I have a meeting later on this week, and I'll be sharing with Ron and with the CCUA things that we find out is, one, how do we get more information out on the aid and assistance program? And I know the VA sent me a form that we can share on this webinar later on, and it's got some information. And what I learned from my meeting, we can also share in terms of, why does the application period seem to be taking so long? Is it because of missing information, or what's the critical link of information that we need in order to expedite approval of these programs to get them out? And then a thing we want to avoid is veterans that are seeking to get some of these benefits from a lot of these fraud companies that we talked about earlier. I think credit unions ought to be the trusted source for information to help that veteran out, and anything we can do to help expedite, we're certainly willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Let me see if I could pull up that PDF file for enhance their special monthly pension aid and attendance or household. We'll also make this available. I'll put a link with this recording that our members can download as well, and be able to see the document. But essentially, let's see if I come over here. I think I can move it. But basically it gives some of, I guess, the details, Tony, right, about the program itself.
Right. If you scroll down, Walter, it's got some great information on who's eligible, how much do they pay, so they have all the rates on there, how to apply. Again, I'm going to find out, what seems to be the problem, but it also has which VA regional office to contact in order to get the benefits. And for everyone in the CCUA area, it's the Philadelphia VA regional office, for more information. And I'm speaking to the head of this program later on this week, and I'll see if I can get some more information, and I'll shoot that to you, Walter, in an email. Maybe we can put that, as an addendum to this webinar later on. But VA has this and many other programs that are available. And I know Ron sent me a couple on email that deal with some of the state resources, and this came from Hanscom Federal Credit Union, a traditional DCUC member. That was some great information at the state level. I mentioned my home state, Virginia, having a state agency. These are some of the state agencies available to members of CCUA as well. And so if we can put those on the webinar page as well, I think that would be great.
Yeah, we'll definitely include those as well, Tony. Well, we're about 30 minutes into it. I would say if there's some maybe closing remarks or some key messages that certainly you want to make sure that those watching today's presentation take home with them, what might that be?
Well, as a trade association president representing, millions of credit union members, I do want to say thank you to all credit unions. What you do matters, in the lives of our families, our communities, and future generations. And so I never pass up an opportunity to say thanks as well, because that works both ways. And I've been honored to be part of this movement, seeing some of the great things. And then with respect to military members, their families, and and veterans and their families as well. Thank you for what you do in supporting that community. It's very loyal. We want to do some good things for them. And so any ideas you have, I'm willing to listen. Any concerns you have, please let me know, because I'd like to get those resolved. But again, I'm thankful to be part of this this great and growing movement because it matters. And so I wanted to say thank you all for your support.
And I think also very important as we wrap up, I think it's critical that we take your words of wisdom, Tony, from earlier. And if any who are watching this webinar have served in Vietnam or in Korea, welcome home. And we wish you all God's blessings and good health. Tony, thank you again for being with us today. And thank you all of our members for watching today's video. And we will keep continuing to serve as a stream of communication for DCUC and all that you do for the military, for those serving, for our veterans, so that they can get, the respect and what's given or owed to them for the good work and the service that they've done on behalf of all of America's people.
All right. Well, thanks again, and have a great and safe Memorial Day.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you all. Bye now.